Hi, I'm Bob, and welcome to Between the Sheets, where we look at Microsoft Excel and related technologies. The biggest topic right now in early 2023 in the IT field is artificial intelligence. Applications like ChatGPT and Midjourney have been disrupting the industry to such an extent it's caught Google and Microsoft off guard, and these industry giants are scrambling to keep up. And AI chat applications can give us Excel formulas. Sometimes they work great, and sometimes, well, let's take a look and see how it goes. I want to run two tests, one simple and one complicated. I have two sheets here. The first is simple, and you can see it has columns for department, state, hours, and rate. And what I want is a formula that will add all of the hours down column D and get a sum only where the state is New Jersey. Now, in a previous episode, I used the SUMIF function in D38 here to get that result. Now, the second sheet, this is a little more complicated. So you can see we have full names going down column A, and some names have middle initials, some have full middle names, some just have a first and last name. What I want is a formula that will extract the first and last names and remove anything in between. This is something I also did in a previous episode, and it was very complicated, requiring 7 functions. I'm going to start with the AI application most people are talking about, ChatGPT. If you're trying this too, you might find that ChatGPT isn't even available. Their servers are frequently over capacity and the site throws errors that it isn't available and you should come back later. So here's a little secret. We can go to the underlying source it uses, which is OpenAI. It's the same domain, but the interface is a little more plain. Either address goes to the same engine. And FYI, I did not try these questions earlier before recording this video. You're going to see the results the same time I am. Let's ask it to solve the more simple sheet first. AI applications do better when we talk in natural language and give them plenty of information. And I'm going to speed this up a little so you don't have to watch me type it all in. Also, as I was saying before in the intro, this is the regular formal ChatGPT screen. If this becomes unavailable, this is the other page you can go to, and it's basically the same thing. But let's go back here. It looks like we don't need that other one. So I'm going to click in here, and this is what I'm asking it. I have an Excel sheet. There are state abbreviations down column C from C5 to C36. On this sheet, the number of hours worked are down column D from D5 to D36. What formula will give me the total number of hours worked in New Jersey? So let's hit enter. Wow, that looks great. Now, through the magic of video editing, I sped this up a little bit because this was coming in a little slowly. Now, right off the bat, I can see there's a minor thing here that's incorrect. You see, it says the state abbreviation must match exactly, including uppercase and lowercase. That's not correct. It has to be spelled exactly right. It has to be NJ, but we could put that in lowercase. So that's something that's a minor issue. So let's just take this. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. Let's go into Excel, and let's go to that sheet there. Let's go down here. I'm just going to double click. I'm going to paste in, and look at that. We can see the stuff is highlighted, hit enter, and hey, that's pretty good. So that worked. Now, one thing, if I were doing this for real, or if I were teaching this in a class, I would assign range names to these columns. I will not fault ChatGPT for not suggesting that because I didn't tell it anything about range names. Okay, that's great. So now let's see what happens with the second worksheet. Let's go back to the browser. Let's go back to ChatGPT, and let's click in there. And so here I'm telling it I have an Excel sheet with full names down column A from A4 through A16. Some names have a middle name, some have a middle initial, and some names have only a first and last name. Give me a formula for column B that will remove all middle names and initials and keep only first and last names. Now this looks pretty cool. It's obviously very complicated. This is not the way I did it, but in Excel there's often multiple ways to do the same thing. I do notice that it's using the left, find, right, and length functions. I use those in my video that I did previously. Well, let's see what happens. Let's copy the code. Let's go back to Excel. And let's go to that complicated sheet. So I'm going to go in here to the first cell. I'm going to double click and paste. And drum roll, please. Let's enter, see what happens. Okay, that looks good. Let's double click the autofill dot and autofill down to the bottom. Wow, look at that. I am honestly impressed. I did not expect this to happen. I really thought that this was going to give us some goofy results. So that's terrific. So let's try the two other AI tools. Let's go to ExcelFormulaBot. So what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to undo so that this is clear. Let's go back to this sheet and I'm going to delete that. So we will have new formulas to work with. And now let's go into ExcelFormulaBot. This is a paid subscription that gives you unlimited answers for $7 a month. You can test it for free, but that gives you only 5 queries a month. Let's see what happens. Notice that unlike ChatGPT, which gives you information for all kinds of things, this one is geared towards Excel. So you see there's generators here, usage, and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to Basic Tasks. And I'm going to click that. And I'm going to do this in Excel, not Google Sheets, although for what we're doing today, shouldn't make any difference. I'm going to paste in, there's that question from the first sheet, the same one we used before. Let's submit. Now you notice this is not giving us an actual formula. This is giving us more of instruction. And that's fine, SUMIF is correct, but let's go over here to formulas. And I'm going to paste in, I'm about to run out of my free trial, but I'm going to do Excel and I'm going to choose generate instead of explain. Submit. Okay, so let's copy that. Let's go back into Excel, double click, paste, and that's correct. That's the same answer that we got previously. Okay, let's go here to the complicated sheet. Now let's go and ask it probably the last question it's going to let me ask. I'm going to paste in that. We're going to generate an Excel formula, hit submit, and you see you've used 4 of the 5 monthly requests, so this is it. Limit reached, Yahoo. Okay, now let's copy this. This looks very similar to what we got before. I'm not reading it all that carefully. Let's double click, paste. That looks good. Okay, and notice that this did not work so well. So ChatGPT definitely beats out ExcelFormulaBot on a more complicated sheet. Alrighty, let's go and remove that. Let's go back to the first sheet. Let's remove that. The third site I'm going to show you is Angelics. This site also charges $6 a month for unlimited queries. By the way, this site was a struggle to get registered for. When I created my account, it put me on a merry-go-round of clicking and confirming back and forth, but it finally let me in. It really shouldn't have to be so difficult. Okay, so this is the main Angelics screen. Real fun the way it bounces up and down, but let's go to the dashboard because this is really where we want to be on the site. And you can see this is Angelics.com. So I'm going to click here in the upper right corner, which says Generate Excel Formula. And let's ask it the question for the first sheet. And this is asking us what version. And it doesn't really matter what we're using now. It could be 2021, 2019. You know, there are some differences, obviously, between the versions, but what we are doing, this example, does not make any difference at all. It's going to work in any of them. So let me submit. That looks correct. Notice there was no warning here about uppercase or lowercase. So let's copy. Let's go into Excel, paste the formula. Brilliant, that works, same number. Okay, last time. Now let's go to the middle names sheet, and we're gonna pose the question for that. So let's go back to Angelics. Just gonna remove all of that, paste in this other question, submit. This looks suspiciously familiar. Let's copy that. Go back into Excel, double click and paste that formula. And none of them had a problem with the first one where we have an actual middle name. Let's see what happens. And that's great. And that works just as well as ChatGPT. So I am just as impressed with Angelics as I am with ChatGPT. So let me show you the formula that I used in my previous episode where I showed you how to remove middle names. My formula is this. So you see, this is a little different from what two of the AI applications gave us, and this worked also. Okay, we have our verdict. All of the sites were okay with a relatively simple sheet, and that alone is enough reason to be impressed. ChatGPT and Ajelix both solved the complicated sheet where we needed to remove middle names and middle initials, but that was too complicated for ExcelFormulaBot. So, will I be replaced with a robot? Well, who knows? The nature of artificial intelligence is that it learns from experience. The more Excel questions people give it, and the more feedback it receives, the better its answers will be. Like we saw, ChatGPT wasn't too sure about uppercase and lowercase. I'm sure at some point they will all be able to solve that second sheet. So until next time, my name is Bob, and this has been Between the Sheets.